All right. Hey, everybody. Hope you're doing great. Welcome to the Mastermind.Builders podcast. My name is Jason Newby-Hoyt. Get your free online membership at Mastermind.Builders. That's Mastermind.Builders. We're going to help you accelerate success. Today, the inaugural podcast, the inaugural show here, I want to talk about what a mastermind group is and why you actually need one to achieve success. Now, I know there's a lot of people in the marketplace. If you search mastermind groups, people are using it as a marketing term, as a marketing ploy, and I want to cut through all that noise and dig in today in this inaugural launch about what exactly is the purpose of the mastermind group and why you actually need one. Let's dig into that. So just west of Orlando in a town called Windermere, there was a business. I was there for a number of years. A number of years ago, I was at this business. There was some networking events going on, and they had inside there, along just below the ceiling on the wall, kind of a border, was a saying that was pretty impactful, and I wrote the whole thing down. I'm going to share that with you guys, and I think it really hones in on the mission and how to actually make dreams become a reality. Let's dig into that. It says, a dream brought into focus is a vision. So we've got this dream, we're at a 50,000 foot view, and what this really is about is coming in for a landing into getting into action and manifesting dreams into reality. But first you start off with a dream. And when you bring that dream into focus, they call that a vision. Then you take your vision and you write it down with dates. It becomes a goal. So get your dream into your vision down to, you add some dates, it becomes a goal. You take those goals and you break them down into steps, and that becomes a plan. I love this. And then a plan backed by action manifests your dreams into reality. And for those of you listening on the audio podcast, if you go to mastermind.builders, that's mastermind.builders, into the podcast section, you'll see the full video presentation here. So let's switch this over from dream, vision, goals, plan, reality. Let's switch this over to the action steps. Again, it's a dream brought into focus is a vision. A vision written down with dates becomes a goal. So what do we have to do? Bring your dream into focus, write down your vision with dates, break your goals down into steps and tasks, and then put your plan into action. And again, a plan backed by action is what manifests your dreams into reality. So think about this. I'll ask a couple questions here. I want you to, the first thoughts into your mind. What are you envisioning here? What thoughts come forward when I say, what is your dream? What is your vision? What are your goals? What is your plan? And what actions have you taken to manifest your dreams into reality thus far? Well, let's take some inventory. I want to help you through this process, help you think through this a little bit, because I think it's a really worthwhile exercise to go through. There's 3 types of inventory that we're going to go through briefly. Personal inventory, a future inventory, and a timeline inventory. I'll tell you exactly what I mean by those in just a second. But the most important aspect of taking inventory is this. It's honesty. You have to be honest with yourself. It just is the way it is. It just is. Don't lie to yourself. Don't make things worse than they are, and don't make things better than they are. Just accept the reality of where you are in this process. And there's 5 areas of assessment we'll go through: your education, your knowledge, your skills, your network, and your experience. How to take inventory with honesty on the personal inventory. Here's how you do that. Right now, today, reality. Not should be, will be, hope to be. It's just, look, it's just you are where you are. These are my current sets of skills. These are the experiences and education from which I've learned. These are the successes I've had, and these are the failures and setbacks that I've endured. These are my strengths. These are my weaknesses. This is what I know. This is what I don't know. This is the impact I've had so far. And again, if you're listening on the audio, go to mastermind.builders, go to the podcast section down there. You'll be able to see this video and see these questions. And I recommend that you go through them and marinate in them. Kind of meditate with them and spend some time thinking about these with this personal inventory. You are where you are. That's just the fact of the matter. That's the reality. Personal inventory. So here's how to take inventory with honesty on your future. Now, for me, one of my goals, one of my dreams, and I kind of have a vision on this, is I want to be an independent author. And I've written a couple books, self-published, so I'm on the road. I'm learning a lot of things about that. But to be independent, there's really a lot packed into that word there, to be truly, fully independent. And I want to publish 2 books a year, and I want to have an impact with my community of people. And so there's some things that are written down into goals with some dates, and there's some steps to get there. But when I think about my future self, and I want you to do the same thing for you, with your dream, with this vision that you have for where you want to be, really think about that future self. And before we jump into those questions again, Napoleon Hill, we'll talk about him in just a minute. He's kind of the grandfather of the Mastermind principle. He talks about in Think and Grow Rich, he wrote in 1937, talking about having definiteness of purpose. If you do not have a definite purpose right now on your mind, something you're striving for, it's difficult to take inventory on your future self. It's without with a lot of detail. It's really difficult to do that. But that's okay. Keep going. Keep thinking about this, and maybe through this process you will actually be able to define your purpose. But here's how you take that inventory on your future self. When I reach my goal, this is the person that I'll be. I will have these skills and this knowledge and had these experiences. So when I think about being an independent author, there's certain skills that I have developed in my personal inventory today. But there's a lot of more skills and knowledge and experiences that I'm going to have by the time I reach my goal. I will be surrounded by these types of people. I will have overcome these setbacks. And for me, there's been a lot of setbacks that I've overcome. And there's probably going to be even more setbacks that I'm still going to have to tackle before I reach my goal, my future self. I will have had these successes. These will be my strengths and my weaknesses. And I will have made this impact, because I'm not just writing to write. I'm not just writing for me. I'm writing to actually have an impact and to challenge paradigms and help people think about certain things and have a real impact. So that's the future inventory. Let's talk about how to take inventory with honesty on your timeline. And here's what I mean by that. So this is where you started, or this is where I started, right? And this is my goal. This is what I want to achieve. This is where I want to be with my goal. Okay. By this due date right here. And this is where I am today. This is just the facts. I want to achieve this by that due date right there. Okay. And everything I've done to date has led me here. So I'm looking at the past trend. And again, I have a visual for the people listening to the audio. I have a visual graphic about start today and due date, my goal. Go to mastermind.builders. You'll be able to see at the podcast section this video there. And if I continue at this pace, and I have a line drawn here on the future trend, then this is where I'll end up by my due date. It's just the reality of the situation. We just have to be honest with ourselves. Because as they say, well, actually, as you can see, there's an obvious gap between where I'm going to end up if I continue with the pace that I'm at now. There's an obvious gap between that and my goal. And as they say, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting, right? So your past education, knowledge, skills, network, and experience have placed you where you are today. And that's okay. There's no judgment. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just the reality. Just face the reality of it. That's where you are today, based on all those things. And your future education, knowledge, skills, network, and experience will determine your success. So how are you planning to close that gap? Right? Because they say insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. So what are you going to do about it? When you guys spend more time getting to know me and through this podcast, I always ask that question. A lot of people that I've known for years know me as that guy who always asks, well, what are you going to do about it? Action, right? What are you going to do about it? Okay. You need a mastermind group. That's the key, because a mastermind group will enable you to utilize the education, knowledge, skills, network, and experience of others. When other people who have more education, more knowledge, more skills, they've got a better network, they've got a lot more experiences, when they pour into you and your mission, that's how you close that gap and achieve that success in a shorter time than you would by yourself, especially going at your existing pace. So at mastermind.builders, we can help you close the gap with a mastermind group. It's all about masterminding, networking, learning from each other. I've got a program where I can, when you're ready, and I've got a free course on some things to look at in understanding masterminding, some things to think about before you set yours up. But when you are ready, you can use that as a platform to host your mastermind group. There's another program if you'd like me to host your first mastermind meeting, which I think would be a great opportunity, as well as another program if you want me to host your mastermind group for a number of months. We can do that as well. But you have a free membership to mastermind.builders. Take the free course to learn about it. So what is a mastermind? Okay, so I mentioned Napoleon Hill earlier. He's kind of the grandfather, if you will. There's a number of these guys who have been around a while, but Napoleon Hill was born in 1883 in West Virginia. He meets Andrew Carnegie in 1908. And Carnegie challenges Hill to spend 20 years researching and writing the world's first success philosophy. And he says what he'll do is he'll introduce Hill to 500 of the most successful businessmen, Ford, Edison, Schwab, etc., to interview them about their success philosophy, and he's going to do it for no pay. And actually, I've got some recordings of Hill, I think in the 1960s, as an old man, if you will, and hearing him tell this story. And he said, when Carnegie proposed that, he says he agreed within like 46 seconds, I think was his quote. I'll be sharing that at mastermind.builders in the coming weeks and months. Here's a quick little picture of Napoleon Hill from 1919. So he wrote, so it did take 20 years. He wrote The Law of Success in 1928, volumes 1 through 4. 9 years later, he wrote Think and Grow Rich, his seminal work. It's been translated in dozens of languages, millions upon millions of copies sold around the world. It's kind of the grandfather of the self-help, the success principle industry, if you will. And in that is where he discussed one of the principles is masterminding. And actually, you may have heard this quote, and this is from Napoleon Hill. It's, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. That is a quote from Napoleon Hill. So let me fix this here. The concept is 2 or more minds together create a third, more powerful mind. That's where these other minds, these other people who have greater skills, networks, education, experiences than you pour into you or pour into a mission, depending on the structure of your mastermind group, which I will talk about in just a little bit. Here's a couple quotes from Napoleon Hill describing a mastermind group. He says, a mastermind is the medium through which one may procure the full benefits, the experience, the training, the education, the specialized knowledge and influence of others as completely as if their minds were in reality one's own. So you can pour, when these other people in your mastermind group have these greater skills and experiences and education and training and knowledge, and they pour into, it's as if their minds were in reality one's own. He says a mastermind is an active alliance of 2 or more minds in a spirit of perfect harmony for the attainment of a common objective, to stimulate each individual's mind to a higher degree of courage than which is ordinarily experienced, which prepares the way for that state of mind known as faith. What I find interesting about this quote is we've all experienced that when we're out there going it alone and trying to do our own thing, and we may have self-discipline, we may have that drive ourselves, and that's great. But there's something about adding another person to the mix where there's, even if they didn't have the skills to help you and the knowledge and the experiences to guide you and ask questions and challenge you, even if they didn't do that, just having another person there as an accountability partner, you'll actually achieve more with that other person involved than you would just doing it by yourself. He also said a mastermind alliance properly conducted Not some of these other mastermind groups that you see out there where people, you don't even know the person and you pay crazy amounts of money to join their mastermind group. And that's a networking thing. That's a marketing thing. This is not the true essence of what a mastermind group is. So a mastermind alliance properly conducted stimulates each mind in the alliance to move with enthusiasm, personal initiative, imagination, and courage to a degree far above the individual experiences when moving without such an alliance. So, Mastermind.builders can help you close the gap with a mastermind group. Go to mastermind.builders, get your free membership there, and network with us. I've got, it's an online community. There's networking, there's training, mastermind hosting, and you can accelerate success. There's a free online course there as well. So in the next several videos, I'm going to be going through a little bit more detail, and I'll have this in the course as well. 3 types of mastermind groups, and it's spoiler alert. I'll tell you what the 3 are, give you a brief overview, but the type of mastermind group that you host, that you have, will be determined by the mission focus. And here's what I mean by that. The mastermind group could have a mission for an individual. So I may form a mastermind group because I want to become an independent author by X date. So I'm going to invite people to my mastermind group that can help me get there, that can pour into me. Somebody's got a digital marketing background. Somebody's got an accounting and finance and business administration background. Maybe somebody has a publishing background. Somebody else is also a writer who's gone through the experience of writing and maybe even novels or whatever the case may be. I'll have those people on my mastermind group, and they are there to help me as an individual on my mission. Another type of mastermind group is one where there's a mission for the group. Maybe there's an organization or a company or the town or something like that. Some leaders in a town, they want to tackle the problem of veteran homelessness. And that's the mission that the entire group tackles. So you're going to get somebody who's from the veteran community, someone who's got, maybe they're a home builder or something to that effect. Maybe there's somebody from this company over here in real estate or whatever the case may be. And that group tackles that mission. That's the second type of mastermind group. The third type is where each individual in the mastermind group has a mission themselves. It's a mission for each individual. So that's kind of not just a leads group, not just where you share leads, but you actually help, all these different people have different skill sets and various backgrounds. And today we're going to focus on me becoming an independent author. And then next week, we're going to focus on this guy who's an electrician who's trying to expand his business. And then the next week, we're going to talk to this guy over here who's an accountant and whatever the case may be. But each individual has a mission. There's 3 types of mastermind groups. Spoiler alert. But I'll go into a little bit more detail in the coming weeks and months with the next series of videos. So again, go to mastermind.builders, create a free membership there, network with me. I'd love to hear from you guys, and let's learn from each other.